Hi, this presentation is going to be on the topic of heavy metal, and this is going to be done by me, Cassandra Johnson. Okay. Does heavy metal corrupt youth? The big question is, does listening to heavy genres of music make you satanic, violent, and a bad person? By saying corrupt, I mean, does listening to heavy genres change the behavior of a group within, like, America? Does it make them a bad person, and does it really make them any different? I do not know if you have ever heard of Warped Tour, but some of the following pictures are going to be from Warped Tour. Warped Tour is a huge concert that is pretty much all genres of heavy music, from alternative, punk, metalcore, death metal, heavy metal, post-hardcore, and rock. It is usually held outside in St. Louis for the past plenty of years. It has been held at the Verizon Wireless Amphitheater. I'm going to give you a variety of different examples of different genres of music I'm talking about, along with the actual songs from the actual bands. Okay, the first example is Motionless in White. This is a band from Pennsylvania, and their actual genre is said to be metalcore. They call their fans creatures. Okay, I'm going to play a part of one of their songs. Okay, that was their song America from their album Infamous. As you can tell, Motionless in White is a band that most grandparents would not listen to nor really approve. It really kills me when people are judgmental. And from the pictures, you may even think, wow, these are some weird people, and they're pretty scary looking, which a lot of people would say here at Pattonville, along with grandparents. And like I said, they are different looking, so there's that. The next band is Chelsea Grin. Chelsea Grin is a band from Salt Lake City, Utah. They are said to be death metal. At the top right hand corner, there's a picture of the lead singer, Alex, performing at one of their concerts. The bottom right hand corner is a picture of the whole band. It's quite an old picture, but it's still all of the same members, because most bands change members, like, due to pretty much just anything that they can get a new lead singer or guitarist or whatever. The picture on the left is from over the summer of Alex and I at Warped Tour 2014. Now I'm going to play a part of one of their songs. That was their song Recreant from their album Desolation of Eden. And Chelsea Grin is it's heavier than Motionless in White, and you could probably tell by the name of the genre, which is deathcore. And you could probably tell by their music and their look, maybe, that they were going to be heavier. But it is true that Motionless in White is more of a heavy metal stereotype. They have more, like, stereotyped heavy metal lyrics in some of their music. The next band is Attila. Along with Chelsea Grin, Attila is a deathcore band from Atlanta, Georgia, but their music is much different from Chelsea Grin. They incorporate rap songs along with screaming, or whatever you want to call it, growling. Their songs are unique and just pretty much overall different. I'm going to play one of their songs now, and I'm trying not to do, like, a lot with their songs, like the amount of time it Okay, and that was Rage from their album Rage. As you can tell, they sound pretty violent, but so did Chelsea Grin and probably Motionless in White. They are the more stereotypical heavy metal band. A lot of people who think heavy metal corrupts youth and changes people's behavior say that heavy metal is only all their lyrics are only about sex, drugs, and suicide and death. But Attila is one of the only bands that I'm going to show you that will have any lyrics like that. Except for some Motionless in White songs, but Attila kind of like revolves around the stereotypical lyrics that a heavy metal band would have. And to be honest, it was pretty hard to find a song by them, and that was a very short part of the song, but all of them are, but still, it was pretty hard to find a song without a lot of like bad things in it that you wouldn't let me use. Okay, this second to last band is Crown the Empire. Crown the Empire is said to be a hardcore metalcore band with poppy choruses, which I can totally 100% agree with. I only wanted to show you Crown the Empire because they are a different type of like metal slash heavy music, whatever you will call it. I'm going to show you two parts of one song, the hardcore metalcore part of the song that people like. Well, I mean, they like all of it, but still. The heavier part, and then the poppy chorus part. It's going to be heavy first, poppy second. Okay, that was the heavy part of Crown the Empire. Now for the poppy chorus, which is to be said by me. Very, very catchy. Okay, that was the poppy chorus part. That was a song from their newest album, The Resistance, Rise of the Runaways, and the song was named Machines. From what you listened to, you can probably agree that Crown the Empire is different from the bands I have shown you, and that they are one of the only bands that have like clean vocals in some of their songs. Okay, the last band I'm going to show you is Of Mice and Men. Of Mice and Men is a band from California, and they are metalcore. Pretty much the only reason I'm going to show you them is because the lead singer, Austin Carlisle, went to jail maybe a year or two ago, and the rest was for assault. He did not really assault anyone, though. A few guys came up to him and started saying things about a fan of theirs who died of cancer not long before he was arrested for the assault. But the reason is because I have a few pictures of the band and Austin Carlisle that really just makes you think about this topic. The big picture on the left is a picture of Austin Carlisle, at one of his concerts, sitting behind something or backstage, and he's crying in this picture. This picture was taken in the middle of one of their songs. He went off stage because he could not continue due to him crying. The song he was singing was Second in Severing, which is Of Mice and Men song about Austin Carlisle's mother's death. I'm going to play a part of that song now. Okay, there's one more part I need to show you, and which is their heavier part, because not even them, like Crown the Empire, have clean vocals. you can tell, maybe, by the lyrics, if you could understand any of it, that the song is pretty upsetting, and he has a true reason to get off stage if you understand the mother problem. The part of the song that I showed you, well, the second part, well, no, the first part, it says, "This is not what it is, only baby scars. I need your love like a boy needs his mother's side," and repeats. And Of Mice and Men seems to me to have the most dedicated fans of all the bands I've shown you. Not saying that the fans of the other bands aren't dedicated, just Of Mice and Men's fans seem to be more dedicated due to the sad, heartfelt, and relatable songs. Okay, now the actual, presentation. I'm done with the examples. Does heavy metal corrupt youth? It is a really big topic to tackle and try to get any small pieces of true evidence that heavy metal corrupts youth. One of the biggest arguments I've seen, not just because I did research, but all over social media, I find is to be, and it's just a really big topic, and it means a lot to me because I listen to all of these bands. I personally do not think that heavy metal corrupts the youth, but people do have good arguments why it does. My first argument is, which is my personal opinion, is that heavy metal does not corrupt the youth. I think that it does not corrupt the youth at all. Heavy metal is said to be good for you and mentally therapeutic to persons who listen to it and actually enjoy it. Metal is not the devil's music, and the people who usually think that metal is satanic and the devil's music are usually obviously people that are against metal and that are very religious. My whole family is pretty much really religious, and I don't let that stop me from listening to the music because I'm not religious at all. My whole family pretty much hates the fact that I listen to heavy music. Only two other people in my entire family listen to it besides me. Just because they scream their lyrics does not mean that the lyrics are bad. Most of the bands I've showed you don't ever talk about drugs, sex, and violence like the stereotypical metal bands. Going back to how fans are dedicated, a lot of bands have very dedicated fans, and fans who listen to the band's music over and over until they're tired of it, fans who buy all of the band's merchandise to help out the band, even if they're really popular and already have money, wear their merchandise to pretty much advertise the band, and just going to their concerts and being there for the band is a huge part of that. The second argument is heavy metal does corrupt the youth, which is not my personal opinion. Like I said before, I think it doesn't. Stereotypically speaking, heavy metal bands only sing, scream about death, sex, drugs, or suicide. And yes, there are bands like that. I just did not show you any of them because there are none that I enjoyed. Like I said, I totally understand why people would think it's a bad influence to youth and to teenagers. Stereotypically speaking, stereotypical heavy, that's all they sing about is horrible things. When music involves nothing but cuss words and bad examples involving drugs, so pretty much most of the Attila songs, but besides the one I dug up and was able to find without cuss words at all. So, I saw Attila at Warped Tour in 2014, so the past summer, and I crowd surfed and also videotaped a part of their performance so I could show my mother and my family what exactly happened at Warped Tour and how they sound. She was not proud of the fact that I listened to that garbage, as she would say, and she also thought it was very bad because crowd surfing is very dangerous. This year at Warped, I have been to both Warped 2014 and 2013. They had signs on every stage, and there were about 6 stages that said that crowd surfing was definitely dangerous and it was not going to be allowed anymore, and that if anybody crowd surfed and got hurt, that they would be sued. I, along with many others, did not listen to the sign, but the guards are in the front of the stages at all times. They cannot leave. That's their job to be there and to grab crowd surfers, and they can't really stop mosh pits. But if you don't know what moshing is, it's where people get very dangerous and they just kind of punch and like kick and do all kinds of violent things, and usually like the crowd will split up into a circle and it will just happen. No, you don't have to be in them, you obviously can get out. I crowd surfed at 2013 and 2014, but in 2013 I crowd surfed to a band called Memphis Mayfire, and I got dropped onto like my back onto the hard concrete ground. But it was not as bad as what happened at Mayhem Fest 2014, which was also over the summer. At Mayhem, I was pushed into a wall of death, which is a form of moshing where the crowd splits into two actual parts straight down the middle, and there's a huge space between both sides of the crowd. And when the singer says go, or a part of the song comes that people know, they run at each other and it turns into a huge mosh pit. And the mosh pit is a small or big part of the crowd that violently swings their arms, kicks, punches, and they, well, if there's nobody in it, they pretty much punch the air, and they don't really care if there's anybody in it, they'll just kind of punch. But if the pit is big enough, it usually is a pretty tight space, so people get punched, kicked, anything else that would be violent, only using the human body because they cannot do anything else, or they would get in a lot of trouble for it, even though I don't see why they don't get in trouble for moshing, because it is pretty much like you're assaulting people, but it's whatever, I guess. Now, okay, so imagine this. You're being pushed into the biggest wall of death, and you are stuck in the middle. And you are being punched, pushed, and kicked, then you fall. You're now on the ground. You're being kicked along with being stepped on. It would not be fun nor safe. And you can see, along with the violent lyrics and violent acts at the concerts, why someone would not be happy with their child or teenager listening and liking heavy metal music due to having to go to the concerts usually, because, I mean, you're just not gonna go. Like, you're not gonna listen to the band and not go to the concerts. Okay. Overall, I do not think that heavy genres of music corrupt the youth or affect teenagers' behavior. I think for people who enjoy the specific or all genres of heavy music, find it therapeutic. For them, the heavy vocals and harsh lyrics are, not exactly soothing, but something to look forward to after school, after sports practice, or after anything, or just any time. Music is an escape from reality. You can just put your headphones in, and the world and the people who don't like you or judge you are completely out. And if you take a closer look, it's not only the fans that are dedicated. The bands are dedicated to their fans, obviously, because they do concerts and they do meet and greets, and they all do this like on their spare time pretty much, because like if you think about it, being in a band would not be easy if you have a wife, which most of the people in these bands I showed you do. No matter what music you listen to, judging someone for liking a certain type of music and judging a person in a band for how you look or sound, no matter what the music is music. They enjoy their music, you enjoy yours. This generation is so judgmental and is pretty much very messed up. Get past the music that somebody likes and judge them for their personality if there is even anything to judge. If the music they listen to affects their personality, that is their fault and you can get over it. And these are my citations. Once again. Okay, and that is the end of my presentation.